Okay, hello everybody. So, I've been meaning to make a TF2 video in a while. Like, I wrote down the script, like, it must have been like 4 or 5, maybe 6 months ago. I don't exactly know when, but I've done various iterations, I've recorded, I've listened to my recording and been like, I don't like the sound of that, redone many iterations, and yeah, like, whenever I write a script, like I feel like this particular topic would work well with a script because there's a lot of like important things to talk about. Whenever I read a script, it doesn't sound good. It sounds artificial. It sounds like I'm reading a script, and I feel like I generally sound better if I just like, just improv it and like, just talk and rant and stuff. So I have notes of like a script that I'll like pause and refer to. This is basically just a backdrop here. I haven't got like a fancy podcast HUD yet, but that'll be cool to make at some point. But basically, I want to talk about something and hopefully upload this VOD to YouTube because it's really, really simple and convenient to just talk on Twitch and then upload the VOD instead of having to do many forms of rendering and compression and uploading that take a lot of hours. Especially since there's not going to be any real fancy editing, it's literally just me talking, so it's a good format for this. So I guess... So the topic I'm going to talk about is the engineer's skill flaw in competitive Team Fortress 2. I'd say a relatively controversial subject on the fact that people don't think it exists, and not to say that engineer is like a fucking super amazing, skillful, mechanically intensive class, but there is skill, it just lies in different means, and I feel like it's good to address, just because not, like, the reason why it took a lot of time to, like, to rewrite and, like, try and talk about, is because I wanted to say it in a way that didn't come off as, I'm an engineer main, you should appreciate me because I'm skillful. No, like, I'm fucking terrible at the game. Let me just be fully, Let me just be fully transparent about that. I am really bad at aiming. I've played the game for ages, I have a lot of experience, I have a lot of game sense, but my accuracy is terrible. I've actually got, like, arthritis and joint problems, which prevent me from consistently being able to aim a mouse. Like, I have very high sensitivity because I use, like, a cushion mouse pad kind of thing, because if I were to aim with my arm would just shake profusely. So I have to, like, aim with a very small, like, moving with, like, my hand side to side. And yeah, like, it's not ideal for aiming. Anyone who I've, like, told it to is just like, that's terrible. But it's that, or my aim is just being thrown around constantly. So I work with what I've got. I take a lot of battles knowing that I'm going to have worse aim than them and I'm going to lose, but I play around that, I guess. So this isn't a conversation topic of I'm skillful, you should pay attention. It's more ingrained than that. It's more that, like, the problem with people saying that engineer isn't a skillful class actually hurts people who want to potentially play the class. So I guess I've already started this, so I guess this will be part of the VOD. But title screen, I guess. Hello, my name is Hammock. I am an engineer main, I make engineer videos because I'm a fucking nerd. And basically I wanted to, talk about the topic less scripted. I have the script in front of me, but I'm just gonna, take pieces of it because it sounds very artificial whenever I try and read from a script, so I'm just gonna take bits from this. And basically, I'm talking about the engineer's skill flaw, and why engineer does take skill, and why it's toxic to the game to say that engineer doesn't take skill. And this comes from the fact that, I guess I'll go into it when I get to that part in the script, but I guess I'll, like, follow along. So, introduction, yes, I've done that. Today I'm going to talk about engineer skill flaw, blah blah blah. Now, first we must ask, what is skill? See, this is why scripting is terrible, because I try too hard. So people, whenever they think of skill, they think of mechanics. They think of sniper, for example. Being able to, like, shoot people, being able to aim, being able to, like, click on heads. That's, like, the skillful thing. That's the go-to thing. Being able to aim, being able to dodge, being able to DM, being able to, like... It's your movement, your like ability to play the game. But there are different ways of having skill, in this game. There's like 3 main pillars. There's a lot of different ones, but I'm going to just keep it to 3. So the first one is mechanical skill, which is, as I said, being able to aim. It's actually kind of funny that mechanical skill and engineer, not really. Yeah. So there's mechanical skill, which is your aim, your sniper headshots, your soldier air shots, your like rocket jumping, your being able to convey what you want to do into the game, like your avatar in the game world, being able to do everything that you want to do, The second pillar of skill is game sense, which is your knowledge about the game, your experience, your understanding of the meta, your understanding that, they have in Highlander one of each class, but your understanding from game sense is knowing maybe this person is playing in this way, maybe their soldier is going to go for like a gunboats bombing playstyle, or they're going to go for a black box contra like passive sustain playstyle, or their spy is going to go knife with Invisawatch and go for stabs, or maybe they're going to go gun spy with the Dead Ringer and the Ambassador or the Revolver and just go for like scout level picks. And yeah, like that's game sense, being able to know all these different things. And I guess, let me just look, because I haven't written this in the note form, it's just in, like, script. So yeah, like, there's the idea, which I'd say, like, I do quite a lot whenever I play games, which is, I can see the opening, the, like, okay, I'm playing Product, I'm on concrete, I'm, like, shooting people, and then, for some reason, the soldier on concrete decides to leave his post and then go jump and bomb the medic. I'm like, okay, the concrete's open now, I'm going to walk in, flank around, no one's going to notice me because I'm just an engineer, and then I'm going to go onto the medic and then kill him. Or probably miss all my shots, knowing me. But, yeah, like, that's game sense there. That's knowing, like, that's your opportunity and you should take it. You understand how the map is currently going. And while it may be mechanical skill to get that shot, it's game sense that got you there. So it's kind of difficult to actually show to newer players and generally newer like competitive players in general what game sense is visually, because you'll see all these frag videos of like people getting sick air shots and headshots and medic drops and backstabs and whatever, but there's not really a clean and visually impressive way of displaying game sense without like large amounts of editing, and even then it's probably not that impressive as just showing a bunch of air shots. I mean, everyone loves air shots. So I imagine a lot of people get into the game when they just don't acknowledge that game sense is a thing. Like, it took me a while playing competitive TF2 to realize that, yeah, you can be a heavy who can, like, track perfectly, but if you don't know, like, your positioning and your timing and you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, you're just dead. You're just dead. Like, there's so many situations heavy where if you commit to the wrong fight, you're just dead. Like, heavy is one of the, like, most game sense required classes to be effective in Highlander. So, like, that's definitely a thing that needs addressing, and maybe I'll address that, like, more generally in a separate video. But okay, I'm trying to keep away. How do I keep this back into topic? So, okay, there's, like, mechanical skill, there's game sense. So, like, mechanical skill is kind of like your hands, and game sense is kind of like your brain, your, like, big banny brain. And the third type of skill is communication, which is quite underrated. You're like, oh, it's just talking. But there's, like, I mean, I should know, because, like, I've been, like, really bad at talking for a while, and that's why I talk a lot, because I want to practice, because, like, when I was younger, I had trouble talking. I've got very bad vocal grammar. Like, I'll say a lot of, like, wrong words that don't fit, and they're not very concise and whatever, just because of the way my brain works. And, yeah, I guess that's why I have this kind of voice, because you can tell that I practice talking a lot. Don't know if that's a compliment. I definitely get it a lot, though. So, in competitive, communication is very important, like being able to communicate exactly what you want quickly and without cluttering the comms. So a lot of teams will just have a main caller or a shot caller, and basically no one else in the team would talk, just to keep that, like, communication. Like, if you've ever seen, like, Dunning-Kruger's comms, the American Highlander team with DK Carl, like, if you've ever seen his streams, like, the comms are just, like, so clean, they're so quiet. Like, anytime there's a fight going on, if people die, they won't just be like, ah, shit, I died, or, ah, that fucking sniper. There's none of that. It's just like, oh, okay, we died. What are we gonna do now? Like, they're immediately, like, on point, and it's so clean. And I feel like that's the nature of a lot of, like, American teams, because, you know, most people speak English, while in EU teams there's kind of more of a language barrier. Generally everyone knows English, but they're probably not, like, as concise when it comes to communication. So, being able to accurately communicate stuff is very important. I noticed from playing a team with a Russian team, which actually wasn't that bad. Like, it was like, it was definitely a test of game sense on my part, not, like, having to rely on calls, because they were just talking Russian, but I was, like, calling, like, medic minus, which is, like, medic down. And it's like, yes, I know Russian now. And, yeah, it's just, like, more of a game sense thing of just checking tab and, like, oh, our sniper died, maybe I should back out now. So, it's, yeah. Communication is very important if you want a team working correctly and efficiently. So, like, there's things like, for example, calling spy, which gets very cluttered a lot of time. People going, spy behind you, and then everyone in the map turns around, and it's just like, who are you referring to? You're just baiting your entire team by saying spy behind you, when they may be just saying spy behind you medic. And that's just a lot better, because that means the flank doesn't get baited, like turning around like, oh, I'm gonna get backstabbed, and then suddenly the scout just kills them, because they turned around and didn't fire a rocket at the scout, or something like that. It also, like, baits your team a lot, because, like, basically, like, I believe there's probably more efficient ways of saying it, but my way of calling out a spy is very simple. You start off the sentence with spy. Very simple, gets people's attention, they immediately know you're referring to the spy. You then say the class that they're going to attack on your team. So you say spy medic, and it's like, alright, they're going to be on the medic. Not referring to the spy disguise, like spy is disguised as medic. Because disguises don't really matter at that point. You just turn around, and if there's someone near you, just attack them. So you refer to the class, and then you refer to the location. So say you're in product, you're sitting in choke point by the rock, you're about to come in with a crit screen, and spy's about to stab it, you go, spy medic choke, and everyone in choke who is there, like the pyro and the heavy, knows to, like, go after that, and you're not baiting your entire team for looking for the spy, because then you're losing, like, positioning. You would still want to address the spy, but you want to, like, not over, like, you don't want to, like, bait your entire team to kill the spy. So that's kind of like a tangent about communication. It's a important skill, and I recommend, like, improving it. I definitely try to, and I think it'll take a while before I'm very good at communication. So, okay, those are the 3 branches of skill. So, does engineer take skill in Highlander? I'm gonna say yes, because game sense. Because, basically, okay, he doesn't require mechanics. You're literally the guy who builds an aimbot and sits there wrenching it. That's basically the class design. It's not a mechanically intensive class. You can be mechanically good at engineer. You can be someone like Doom, who's like an EU engineer who's a god. He's like probably the most terrifying, like, deathmatch engineer. He's like scout main level on engineer. Like, anytime I would play against him in scrims or in pickups or whatever, like, I would just go against him and like, I would know that every fight I take with him would end in me dying, and he would know that as well. It's just like, oh, Hammock's on the enemy team, free kill. So you kind of just, like, learn to play around that, but fuck, man, like, if, like, when you get to, like, high level as engineer, it definitely comes down to mechanical skill. So while mechanical skill isn't, like, a skill flaw to engineer, if you can play engineer well, you have game sense, and you can aim like a boss, then you're going to be a good engineer, because you're basically going to be a second scout at that point. So, okay, the engineer doesn't have a high skill floor for mechanics, but I would say that he's got a relatively high skill floor when it comes to game sense. And this is the main topic of conversation for the video, the concept that engineer does take skill. Like, he doesn't take aim, but he takes skill. And the reasoning behind that is that whenever people play engineer in Highlander, or they play a lobby, or they play a scrim, they always expect a certain, like, level of input from their engineer, even if it's just subconscious. Because engineer, along with medic and pyro, are one of those classes that like provide support to the team, and they don't get noticed unless they're doing something wrong. Like, you very rarely play on a team with a pyro unless you're just watching your pyro the entire time. You very rarely play with one and you're just like, wow, this guy's really good. Like, unless you're a pyro main, then you know what to look for. Like, the only time you notice is like, our pyro's doing okay, or he's doing terribly. And that's the same with like medic and NG. Like, you only start noticing when you're not getting enough heals, or the pyro isn't checking for the spy, or the engineer just doesn't seem to build any teleporters on offense, or he just keeps getting backstabbed by the spy. Like, but when they're doing well, it's like, it's a baseline. That's what people expect, which is why this is why I had like a distaste for spies for the longest time, not just as an engineer main, but because their skill requirements are inverted, in that you can play spy, and you can be fucking terrible. You can be the worst. You can just die every single life. You could have 50 deaths at the end of the game. But if you get like medic picks and sniper picks at the right time, then you're a good spy. Like no one notices. Like everyone just sees you die as a spy, and you're just like, that happens. But if you get a medic pick, oh my god, he's amazing. He got a medic pick. He got 1 kill, but it was a good pick and it was useful. So he can be shit the entire time, and no one cares. But you can do like a few good things, and suddenly he's great. But when it comes to engineer, you can be fucking amazing. You could have like your perfect timing. You can like level up your teleporter so that as soon as you cap the next point in payload and your heavy respawns, bam, he's got like a teleport that you can immediately go through and just like get back to the front. It's like so convenient. Fucking moist. Respect me. And they can build dispensers in the right place, so that as soon as you cap the point and your demo needs some ammo, he just goes back to the dispenser. Like, you just play product, and like you never have to worry about ammo because the dispenser is always there. And then suddenly, if the engineer is doing bad, he is the fucking worst. He makes one mistake, he is shit. He's terrible. He's like, what's this? The spy just sapped the teleporter right before I took the telly. Fucking engineer, build a telly. What the fuck are you doing? Dude, I fucking had it up the whole time. It just died that one time. Doesn't matter. You didn't build it. I fucking hate you. Like, that's the mindset of a lot of people in lobbies, and that's just because they're cunts. But like, basically, there's the thing with spy and NG where like spy, he can do shit and do a few good things. He's great. Engineer, he can do very well and do a few shit things. He's terrible. So that's like my mini rant there. Obviously, there's like nuance to that and whatever, but playing lobbies and playing with terrible people in terrible environments, that's kind of the shit that goes on. So, what was I talking about? Fuck. This is why I like having scripts. So, yeah. Fuck. My train of thought is just gone. The flow has been destroyed. So yeah. Does engineer take skill in Highlander? Yes, it requires game sense. Okay, so the reasoning I bring up all this stuff is because when... Okay, I'm trying to relocate what I was talking about there. Fuck. I really need bullet points. If only there was a program that, like, wrote bullet points as you spoke. That'd be cool. So yeah, people have a certain expectation for how you play engineer. And that's harmful to people who want to get into playing engineer in TF2, because people will, for example, say like lobbies, for example. I'm not going to state a specific site, because you know that it's cancer, and I know that it's cancer, so I'm not going to give it any advertisement. So, if you go through a specific lobby site, and, for example, no one wants to play engineer, people in chat will be like, oh, take Engie, it's an easy class, and like, if you're playing from the aspect of pubs, in which, I mean, lobbies basically are pubs, to be honest. If you're playing from the aspect of pubs, yeah, engineer's easy. You just find a place that you want to build, preferably with an ammo pack, preferably near the point, and then you just build a base, and that's it. But in Highlander, there's meta. There's sentry spots. Heck, I've made tons of videos about where you should build, ideally. You can build wherever you want. You can, like, invent the new meta. But if you're new to the game and you haven't played that much, you should probably use the sentry spots that everyone else uses, because that's what they're used to, and that's how the meta works currently. When you have your own team, then you can kind of discuss and be like, hey, I really want to build my sentry on roof, on gravel pit and whatever, and do all that kind of stuff. But really, when you're doing lobbies, you should probably play the consistent route. But, if you're... I keep saying but, fuck. If you're new to fucking lobbies and stuff, and you're new to TF2, and you're new to competitive, and people are like, hey, you should play engineer, it's easy. You're immediately like, oh, okay, it's easy. There's no, like, barrier to entry, right? I can just do whatever I want. Wrong. That's fucking wrong. Everyone will get upset with you if you don't do everything that you should know how to do, because why wouldn't you know how to do it? And that's what I'm talking about of why engineer takes skill. There's the game sense skill flaw of you need to either have played a bunch of engineer in competitive before to like and have horrible experience of people calling you bad names and stuff to know what to do as engineer, or gone and done a bunch of research, preferably on my YouTube channel, about where to build your sentries and how to play the class to a standard that people are used to. So there's that. And that's very harmful because new people will come into the game, play a game, get yelled at by people who have way too high expectations from organised pubs. And, for example, Moist Penguin. And then they'll just like go, oh fuck it, toxic comp players are just ruining this game, and they'll leave and they'll not play comp again because you guys have fucking ruined the experience for that person by expecting too much and by basically baiting them by saying, oh, you should play this character, we won't judge you at all, immediately judge. Like, fucking stop spreading the rumor that engineer doesn't take skill, it requires game sense. Like, if you want the idea of engineer to not take skill in competitive, then don't get mad at them when they don't build any teleporters, they don't build any dispensers, and their sentry is on fucking last point. So that's what I wanted to get off my chest. Still, I want to also phrase that I'm not saying that engineer is a mechanically intensive, super skillful class, and because I'm an engineer, you should say that I'm amazing at the game. Like, that's not what I'm saying when I'm saying that engineer takes skill. I'm merely addressing the toxic atmosphere and expectations that are ingrained in a lot of players when they say that engineer doesn't take any skill. And that genuinely hurts new players getting into playing. And it doesn't just hurt engineers, it hurts pyros and it hurts medics. Medic is like such a hard character to find in lobbies because honestly, I think honestly, I think Medic's design is terrible. Like, because he's like a good class in a competitive environment where, you know, you have people to protect you and organized. But if you're in a pub, I don't want to have to rely on some turdo to protect me. I want to play the game. I want to play Team Fortress 2 and heal people. That's why I kind of like, you know, not to say the O word, but I really like that Blizzard game where you can play a guy who can wall ride and shoot people, or you can play a person who can sit back and give someone a heal and then sit back and throw nuts at people. Like, I don't want to just play heal bitch class. I want to play healer, but I also want to play TF2, you know. So I feel like that would be a cool thing. Maybe you should look at my unlock ideas, which give other classes healing abilities, Valve. Hint, hint. So yeah. So Medic is one of those classes, and you play Medic, and you're just like, oh yeah, Medic is easy, all you have to do is heal people. It's not a mechanically skillful class. I mean, I guess you can be very mechanically skillful. Definitely players like Nursey are very good at Medic mechanically. But there's a ton of game sense requirement. You need to know where to stand so a sniper can't shoot you. You need to know to check for spies and such. And you need to know heal order and crit heals and understand that no matter how much your sniper begs for a buff, maybe you should heal your heavy who's really low health first. Maybe you shouldn't perma heal sniper. Still buff your sniper. Buffing sniper is a very good thing, but don't like heal them just because they're mashing E. Like, you have to understand. So, okay. I need to get to my place on this script so I can understand how to resolve this. Fuck. Okay. So yeah, I think I've pretty much addressed everything I wanted to address. So yeah, let me just see my resolution I wrote on the script. So to wrap up what has been discussed, Engineer does take skill to play, and saying that it doesn't is hurting potential players. See, this is why I don't like reading a script, because it sounds like I'm reading a script. I'm trying too hard to sound like a radio guy. Saying Engineer doesn't require aim is a fair point to make. If you know someone who wants to play Highlander, and maybe give the less mechanically based classes to try, be sure to say that Engineer could do with a little research before diving in. Yeah, you need to know where to build and what to do so that you don't just get destroyed and have your team yell at you because they expected something from you. Also saying that Engineer is a game sense class with a lot of knowledge attracts nerdier players. Yeah, that's also another thing. Like, a lot of people I know who play Engineer like strategy games, they like being able to manipulate the environment, they like the control that Engineer provides, and I feel like if people knew that going into competitive, like, Engineer, then it would attract more people. Like that's one of the things I really like about comp TF2 Engineer is you play pubs and like your buildings are pretty much forfeit because any spy can just walk in and kill you. But when you're playing comp and you can kind of rely on teammates, then like you can spend more time just like getting really good like sentry dispenser and teleporter positionings and getting the most like value out of it. And I don't know, it feels really satisfying having like that level 3 teleporter set up just before your heavy leaves spawn, and it's just like, hello master, I've got this teleporter prepared for you, and he just shoves you by and just like ignores you. Moist, can you give me attention, senpai? Okay, so yeah. If this video was helpful to you, feel free to show your support by leaving a like and a comment. Why did I even write that? Okay. Yeah, that's the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Nice, that was good.